Okay, gentlemen, you've all been incarcerated for the past 55 years. You've been up for parole for the past 30 years. You keep failing your parole. I'm your parole coach. We're going to get this right this time, and we're going to get you out of here. All right, so let's begin with our weekly statement, okay? Let's say it all together. I am committed to improving myself by
sweet revenge.
By helping others, right? Helping others and
Paper?
And obeying the law.
Lollipop.
You shall let us out of here.
Where did you even get that? We confiscated that from you like a billion times already. Okay, Mr. Hyde, what are you going to say to the parole judge tomorrow at your hearing?
I shall get sweet revenge on the judge who put me here, as well as that Scooby-Doo gang.
No. First of all, you're going to appear as Dr. Jekyll. You got to stop taking these monster vitamins that's changing you. We can't have you going to the meeting like this. Secondly, don't you want to get out of here? You still have loved ones out there. I know they come visit you. But no, you want to be in here. Why? Get out of here. Okay, Mr. Vampire, what are you going to say tomorrow? That's good, but I want you to say the opposite. Anything but a hissing sound. You're not an angry cat. Okay, Frankenstein's monster, it's your turn. I don't even know how this is possible. You and the werewolf and the vampire are the same person, but there's three of you here. Why is that? Okay, finally you, someone who's normal, Pietro. Okay, what are you going to say to the judge tomorrow? You think you're stuck in here with me, but maybe you just haven't realized that you are the puppet. You know, I think you're actually right. I think you've been pulling my strings for the past 30 years, and maybe I am surrounded by puppets. I mean, how else could you explain the Wolfman? It's not even a full moon. It's not even nighttime right now, yet he's a Wolfman. And Mr. Hyde, we took away his vitamins. No one even visits him anymore. He should have been Dr. Jekyll at some point, but he's still been Mr. Hyde for like over 50 years. And then Creeper only says paper. That's all he says. He just says paper. And he's been doing this for 30 years.
Paper.
What is the point of this exercise? Are you just here to drive me mad? I think you are. Because this is crazy. Come on. I know you're not even going to try it this week at your parole hearing, are you? You're just going to be stuck here. You're just stuck here with me. Maybe I'm the puppet. I must be the puppet. That's all I am. I'm just a puppet. And this is my life. This is all I do is just this parole hearing with you. And it's really upsetting. So come on, cut me a break. And please, this time, let's get out of here, guys. Okay? I'm sick of this. There's other people who need my help. My family doesn't even know me anymore because I'm crazy when I go home. And I'm just mad. I'm like, why haven't they gotten out? And you guys haven't gotten out. And it's just maddening. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you've been fooled? I'm sure you have. It could have been something innocent when you were a kid, like a magic trick, right? Or maybe a movie you watched recently that was like 90% CGI fooled you for like the 2 hours because you believed everything that was happening on that screen and you just really got caught up in the story of that film. The introduction of the internet and mobile phones and social media has certainly made it easier for us to be fooled, and we certainly have to be more vigilant of like things like embezzlement scams, phishing, fake news manipulating who we vote for even. That's big in the news. There's catfishing, there's AI, AI images fool us now, and AI is probably going to make it easier for the scammers to, scam us. And for years now, I've wanted to just personally get rid of all my own social media accounts because I feel like every time I go on, it's just like a game of Minesweeper where I'm just destined to never win. I'm eventually going to get hacked or fall for something where I get, my email hacked or something and they'll get my bank account information. It's really starting to worry me. And our dopamine addictions to our phones has made it even easier for us to fall prey to even more personal and dangerous examples of having our strings pulled, where our mental health can be like shattered with the snap of someone's fingers, right? You hear about it all the time, so much that in the modern age, not a day goes by without us hearing phrases like gaslighting and grooming and love bombing and, like I mentioned before, like ghosting and catfishing. And part of me misses the days where we could just blame everything on the Illuminati for that went wrong. But now it's just other people who are just interfering with our lives and causing havoc, it seems. And this is why I find the Puppet Master from the Backstage Rage to be one of Scooby-Doo's most scariest and probably one of his most realistic villains. Unlike many of the other Scooby-Doo villains out there, he used ghosts to scare people to go away so they can go about their schemes. You know, maybe they bought some land cheap to scare some people away or whatever. You all know the tropes here, the situations. I feel the Puppet Master deliberately pulled the gang's strings in this episode for his own pleasure, just to test his wits, rather than pulling off some rinky-dink counterfeit scheme. In fact, I'm convinced by the time the episode wraps up and we see the Puppet Master sitting in the back of a squad car, that's not even him, but just another one of his puppets. Before we debate that though, let's just take a closer look at some of the clips from this episode for a bit of a refresher on Puppet Mastery 101. I wanted to show some clips from this episode just to illustrate how spooky it is and how terrifying or creepy or just nightmare-inducing I find personally the Puppet Master is. So right away, we get the opening scene. Scooby-Doo always knows how to start off, especially Scooby-Doo, Where Are You, right? We get this full moon thing going on. We get Scooby and Shaggy kind of walking through what we think is like a rural area. We just get some trees. We don't see any buildings just yet. We're about to see that a little later. And yeah, it just starts off with the spookiness instantly. Shaggy is whistling, and whistling in a lot of cases is something people do when they're nervous. Shaggy is clearly nervous. He's about to say how spooky the night is.
Say, Scooby, kind of a spooky night, huh?
But fortunately, they also got this pizza, which is the brilliance of the Scooby-Doo writers, because they balance the spookiness with the comedy.
We had 2 blockbuster pizzas at the Pizza Palace.
And with this scene, okay, this one scene kind of illustrates why I think the Puppet Master has set up this whole episode. My whole thesis for this episode all along, going forward, is that I think the Puppet Master has set up this whole plan for them to find this violin case and test his wits against the Scooby Gang. Do I think it's the writer's intention? No. But in my head, this is what I think, because look at this violin case. A quarter of it is just sticking out the window. It's sitting on the seat of the car, the open window in the back. Like it's just asking to fall out, right? And it's got counterfeit $20 bill stuck in it. I think Puppet Master, this is why I think it's spooky. He's been watching Scooby and Shaggy for some time. He's getting their like patterns down. He probably heard about them. He probably read like an article on the mystery solving detective teen gang, and he's like, I want to test my wits about this. So he's been watching Scooby and Shaggy probably get pizza on a regular basis. They probably have a pattern, because most of us have patterns, right? We have routines that we follow. And maybe they get pizza every Tuesday night or something, right? So he's been watching them, and I think he set up the rocks that he's going to bounce across for this thing to fall a bit. Because think about it, if you're driving, you're going to avoid some rocks, even if it is a bit dim at night. And usually on a road like this, he's driving past some apartment buildings or something. There's not going to be rocks on the side of the road. So this is my argument. See it fall out? I think he purposely did that.
Hey, mister!
Now Shaggy's going to find it. He picks it up. And again, what makes this episode brilliant is we're going to see it filled with money. And as kids, we're wondering, what would we do in that situation? Maybe our first instinct is, how would we spend thousands of dollars? But most of us, not most of us, probably most of us would think that. I think I would as a kid. But yeah, what would you do in that situation? Probably, I think everyone's instinct is to keep it. Most of us, I think, would return it though, or try and call the police, especially with that amount of money too, right? If you find a nickel, you're not going to hunt someone down. But if you find thousands of dollars, it's just best to give it back to whoever, because trouble's only going to follow you if you steal that money, right? I love this scene because we get this kind of like voyeuristic view of Shaggy, so we know it's like Hitchcockian, right? someone is watching Shaggy. And is it Scooby who's guarding the money, or is it someone else? And I think we're about to find out it's someone else. It's the Puppet Master. And he drives by like very creepily, right? The slow drive. You think Shaggy would have noticed him with that slow drive, but he doesn't. And then we got Scooby guarding the violent case, but he sees this dog. And I want to talk about this dog briefly. So, this is how brilliant the Puppet Master is. A dog's top 3 senses are the opposite of a human's. So, a human's top sense is hearing, followed by sight, followed by sense of smell. This is what we rely on, right? We need our hearing. In the past, we needed it so we'd wake up if we heard something alarming like a predator about to eat us, right? Big thumpy footsteps from a bear would wake us up, creaking trees. Could be a tiger in the trees that's coming towards us. So we need our hearing because we spend a third of our life asleep. And then sight, obviously we need that. And usually our sense of smell, like think about, you might not notice how much you smell things, but you always if you pour a glass of milk, you tend to maybe smell it to see if it's off. We needed food to figure out we needed our sense of smell to figure out if food was poison, right? Dog sense of smell is the most important because they rely on smell for tracking down animals because they're predators in a sense. Like all dogs are derived from wolves, right? Dogs are specifically breeded from wolves to have certain traits over the years and look a certain way. And then their sight, they obviously need that to chase after animals. And then their hearing was third. Because it's dim out, Scooby probably doesn't have the best sight at night, right? But you think his sense of smell would tell him right away that this puppet dog was a phony. Which is why I think the Puppet Master is brilliant because he probably stuffed this dog full of dog hair or maybe put some maybe rubbed it against another dog or something to give it a dog smell. I think that's just what he must have done to get past Scooby's senses. And this, again, is just a really cool scene. Because we don't, as an audience, we don't know it's a puppet right away, right? We have no idea that that's money's counterfeit yet. Or it involves a puppet show and a puppet master just yet. Guy steals his case back. And he makes a dog disappear after that creepy laugh. So it's just spooky. And we still don't know it's a puppet, right? I wanted to show this scene because again, it just shows that I think the puppet master set him up. So Velma's going over the clues. And look, we see a puppet controller. How did that get out of the car? You know he purposely dropped that. And in case they couldn't figure out where it came from, he leaves his business card, basically, right? He's telling them, I left this here. And I think that's why, again, he's setting them up. Why else? We know when he took the dog puppet away, he had that in his hand. So he must have zipped it up and then chucked it out the window. Close enough to Scooby. That he knew the mystery, the famous Mystery Inc. would come find this thing and, investigate a little further. This scene I like because the gang come to the same conclusion at once. I like these earlier episodes because they haven't really developed their full identities yet. So everyone's kind of smart in this episode. Shaggy, Daphne, Velma, and Freddy, they all say counterfeiters at once. Normally in such episodes, you just go Velma. Velma's like, are you thinking what I'm thinking, Fred? And Freddy's like, yep, time to set a trap, it's just those two. But here we get everyone. Everyone's kind of a little bit on top of their game compared to what we see later on.
Very strange. They don't seem to hold together. Unless you got it.
That's it. Counterfeiters.
Such a great scene. I love the setup with this one. Just how it's laid out. We get the lamp over them. It's a still shot, but it somehow still feels animated. When I look at this, even though it's still, I kind of see movement for some reason. I don't know why. It's maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm just tired, but yeah. Again, it's kind of a voyeuristic look too. We're looking at the gang, looking at someone else, right?
There's someone inside.
A watchman or a doorman most
And it's the puppet master they're looking at, and he set this up. He knows they're coming, and he's working them.
Let's go inside.
And later on, we figure out this guy
Hello. What can I do for you?
is not who you think he is. He's not even the puppet master. Well, he is sort of the puppet master, but it's, there's something else going on. You know what I'm talking about.
What do you say, Johnny?
I just wanted to show this scene because
But you can't work this
it's a good scene.
You're a puppet. You're very good. Are you a puppet master?
Kind of like,
I know.
oh yeah, he's definitely a puppet master. Because he's playing them. He's playing them right now. He's making them feel calm and relaxed. Like everything's kind of normal. 2 reasons I wanted to show this scene is just I like the look of the witch and the clown puppets. And yeah, I just wanted to show like there's a bit of creepiness going on with this too. Because later on, like the witch moves and we're like, who moved that witch?
Well, you certainly seem
But I think this witch was moved on purpose because it just distracts or spooks Scooby in such a way that they find the next clue. And I use the word clue liberally because it's a setup clue. So Scooby is spooked. He bumps into Shaggy, and the rest of the gang they're still talking to Pietro here. He's putting Johnny away. Scooby finds a 20, or Shaggy finds it, I guess. They both find it.
A brand new bill, just like in the violin.
And Freddy's like, cool,
Quick, hide it.
let's get out of here.
Now, about that audition. Not right now. We've really got to go. Well, we sure enjoyed the puppets. Goodbye.
And then this.
Anytime.
Just the way he like looks at them leave, like he's like wondering. He knows they found it. He deliberately turned his back at the right time and just pretended not to hear anything that's going on. And now he's like watching them leave going, did I fool them? Or are they coming back? And I think in his head he's like, I hope they come back. Because he's got more surprises for him, right?
Goodbye.
This is a great scene because Freddy figures it out. He knows what's going on.
It's absolutely genuine.
So the dollar bill or $20 bill's real. Freddy goes, was it planted?
Make us think nothing fishy was going on in the theater.
And then we wouldn't think of going back. I get it. But now what do?
We go back.
Love that line. We go back. I am undercover agent, detective, chicken shawarma, and sometimes parole officer. And here are 5 facts about Velma you always want to know, but we're afraid to ask. Fact number 1. Velma is most famous for the 1970s television show, The Facts of Life, where she played Tootie, the roller skating, braces wearing gang member of an all-girl mystery solving club. Fact number 2. During the 1980s, Velma took a break and did not appear until 1991 for the hit movie Velma and Louise, where she and Buffy the Vampire Slayer cruise for their boyfriends in their convertible. In the film, Velma hooks up with Brad Pitt, and together they drive off into the sunset and then later on off a cliff. Fact number 3. Velma and Buffy the Vampire Slayer later reunited for the 1990 film Cruel Intentions, which was not about vampires. Fact number 4. In real life, Velma is known for her red hair, white dress, and pearl necklace, as well as being married to John Goodman. Together, they had a smash hit sitcom called Roseanne. Fact number 5. Focusing on her family later in her career, Velma took a break from acting and decided to write. She wrote for the American hit comedy called That's What She Said, and then later starred in her own series called The Velma Project Inc., where she famously drank hot dog water. Bonus fact! Later on, her older show, Roseanne, was rebooted. But after making inappropriate tweets on Tinder, Velma was booted from her own show, and Habu renamed the show from Roseanne to Velma. Alright, we're back to this scene again. They're on the staircase, kind of like an alleyway or back entrance, and they're looking in. They're being voyeuristic, and they're looking in, and they see the doorman sleeping.
Come on. The door's unlocked.
Door's unlocked, so they're gonna, see themselves in. We know the doorman put Johnny away, but Johnny's back, and for good reason. Because he's got to creep us out. Such a creepy shot. That scene probably gave thousands of kids nightmares.
Why not start here in the
Speaking of nightmares, the gang are looking for clues, and we get this cardboard cutout of the puppet master guy, or the cloaked man. So he's there, and now it looks like he's watching the gang from a different perspective. This is so great, and I probably didn't notice it like the first time. So yeah, he's back up there now. It's not a cutout. And that thing we saw hanging there before, that one up,
Hey, Scoob,
it's gone.
watch what you bump into. Pirate Freud.
We're back to that perspective.
Come on, let's go look somewhere else.
And he kind of like does something to spook Scooby now. And as it goes on, he twists, like he heightens, he increases the tension. The next scene, he does something that's like a little more dangerous than just like some cardboard or some light wood falling on you. He drops something that could probably kill you.
Gee, Velma,
Yeah,
wish we had a clue to a clue.
check this out.
Don't worry, Daphne. If we stick around here, we're bound to find something.
Sandbag. That thing probably weighs like 50, 100 pounds. That fell on Velma.
We almost got hit
That'd hurt her. That'd probably kill her.
Yeah, I guess the rope must have broke. Broke nothing. Look,
And he dropped it deliberately near Velma because he knew
cut themselves.
she'd figured that it was cut. He knew. He knows his target. He's done his research. He knows Velma's like, she ain't gonna fall for some like accidental sandbag falling. She's gonna investigate, and she did. And that's another reason why I think the Puppet Master is terrifying. Because he studies his victims before he pulls their strings. Another fan favorite scene is this one, right? Everyone I talk to just loves this scene. Just so creepy. But it gets even creepier. This next scene is what people love even more. Because you get the clowning around, it lightens the mood. But then, bam. 2 seconds. 2 seconds. All you get of that is like 2 seconds. But it's burned in every kid's mind who's seen this. Like, they don't need anything longer than 2 seconds. They can close their eyes and see that guy still there like 40 years after watching this episode. And here's another cool scene. And again, another scene that just illustrates why I think the Puppet Master is setting them up. So they're walking along.
We're looking for. We'll know when we find it.
Then bam, creepiness.
Find it.
Daphne, Velma, come over here.
He specifically laughs right when they walk by because he wants them to investigate that orchestra pit. He's laid more traps, mental traps, not physical traps, mental traps for them to throw them off or to guide them in a certain direction. I think he's guiding them in a certain direction. This scene is great because we get Freddy taking the bait, and it is bait, right? Puppet Master wants them to find these empty violin cases.
All empty. Not even violins in them.
And I think Freddy's,
It's a wild goose.
even though he says it's a wild goose chase,
That man in the black
I think he's starting to figure it out.
him.
And Scooby.
Because, again, if that guy didn't laugh in that pit or taunt Scooby and Shaggy, they wouldn't even know about the guy in the black cape or anything, right? So I think he deliberately wanted to be seen. And he's leading them in a direction, right? He's still pulling their strings, and he wants them to go in a very specific direction. And that's, again, another reason why this episode is very terrifying to me. This scene's fun because it kind of sets up like the Phantom of the Opera kind of tribute or callback or homage, right? I just like it too, and it's a bit creepy. He gets everyone's attention again by sound, right? The organ music gets their attention. Cool shot. See him playing. Again, every kid probably knew this is a Phantom of the Opera reference, right? And then, bam, disappears.
It must have been our imagination.
That
No?
was the first time I ever heard mine.
And did you hear Shaggy where he's like, that's the first time I heard my imagination? Again, which shows you why hearing is just such an important sense. And then we get that Viking dropping down. And it's not the Viking falling down, like coming down, that's spooky. More of the shock of that thing going, hey, at you, that's going to startle you a little bit more than just seeing him. Right, so this scene, just look at this. Velma, we rarely see her scared. We see her like kind of running away with everyone, but we rarely see her like grab Shaggy or something. And then she says something where we know she's spooked, right? She never says anything like this. Just take a listen here.
Who's that? I don't like looking for clues anymore.
I don't like looking for clues anymore. And again, before we see the pirate, we hear him startling us, startling them. Just brilliant. And now we get the poodle back. And why would we get the poodle back? The poodle's not scary, but Puppet Master wants them to find something. We also get this trap door on the floor too.
That's the one.
So Scooby's like mad at this dog, grabs the dog, and he's about to find something.
Look, Scooby has a dog puppet. So this
finds the counterfeit plate. There is no reason for that dog to have even appeared, because it's not scary. It's no Viking or pirate yelling at you.
It's time we wake that
Puppet Master wanted them to find this. This is another famous scene, right? Like, you know what's going to happen if you've seen this episode before. You might not have noticed some other things going on before, like the Puppet Master kind of like disappearing. Maybe you weren't paying attention, but this is probably like the most famous scene, I think. I don't know. I could be wrong. There's so many good scenes in this, but yeah, this one's just creepy.
Mr. Dorman, wake up! Wake up! Come on, wake up!
Whew. Yeah,
He's a puppet.
that's like top tier horror going on right there, right? That's right out of a horror movie. And then this.
Hey, we're locked in, but good.
They're locked in with the dummy, right? Like, they know they're trapped, and they took the bait and fell into the trap, right? And here we get like the introduction of a new puppet,
Gotta get out with this important
which is like a hawk or a bird or something. It's like a robot bird, so it's flying high up in there. It's probably not on strings.
What'll we do now? I'll tell you what we're gonna do. We're going back to that violin case room and give it another going over.
Smart thinking. But yeah. So just with that eagle or hawk or whatever, just shows like the Puppet Master has so many tricks up his sleeves. This scene kind of harkens back to What a Night for a Night. We get a secret passage, not through a mummy case this time, but through a harp case. Yeah.
It's sure enough.
And I think the Puppet Master wanted them to find this.
Room in it. Wow, we hit the jackpot.
So cool.
Printing press.
and all those new
There's even like a lamp in case, they opened it and couldn't see in there. He even turned on the lamp so they could see the printing press. And then this creepy laugh.
It's him.
Oh yeah, he set this up. Another creepy scene, right?
You know my secret.
You know my secret. So the Puppet Masters chase the gang down a tunnel, right? And they've come to a dead end, but there's a ladder. So they're below this trap door now. And yeah, another creepy scene. The Puppet Master is behind them, chasing them, but all of a sudden, right, when they pop this thing open,
Where are we?
I'm not sure.
he's up right above them.
You have learned my secret. Now you can never go.
Yeah, creepy. Especially if you're a kid, when you know you're trapped and they're like, you can never go. If you're a kid here, and not that the gang are kids, but kids watching, that's fear-inducing, man. That is terrifying. Now the gang, they try the trapdoor again, and they get out, and they're back on the stage.
Wait a minute.
And Velma finally kind of figures everything out.
Remember the doorman? Yes. He was a life-size puppet, wasn't he?
She's like, everything around here is like a puppet.
These are
Nothing to be afraid of.
Puppets.
This is the final scene. I would have loved to just shown the whole episode and talk through it. But, I'd rather you actually watch the episode without my narration. That'd be better. It's a better experience. But I just wanted to demonstrate, like, okay, Velma's last words in the last episode is, to paraphrase Velma, everything in this place is a puppet. Now, they think they've caught the Puppet Master, and they might have caught the actual guy in the rafters who fell into like a drum you can play, like a bass drum. You know how it has like that outer rim? So he fell into that. And we know there's a trapdoor, and there's trapdoors all over this place. So he could have easily got kind of trapped in that drum and then escaped through a trapdoor and substitute himself for a puppet. There's no unmasking in this episode. They don't go up to the Puppet Master, pull off a mask. We see Pietro or the doorman or whatever, right? None of that. We just cut to this scene. And I think, the person in the backseat of this squad car, I think he's another puppet. He might blink in the backseat, but that could be totally mechanical. Otherwise, he is just sitting still, right?
Oh, it was nothing really.
You don't hear him say anything,
Mr. Pietro
just blinks.
posing as the doorman
And I think
had us
that guy
for a while.
is a puppet,
He gave himself away when he
and that's
put
why I
on his
think
little
the Puppet
puppet show
Master
for us.
is the most terrifying villain of all. He specifically set this up, and he's already out of there. He probably collected whatever he needed to skip town and pull the strings of his next victim. Am I reading too much into this episode? Absolutely. Do I think back in 1969 the writers and creators intended this episode to be anything more than a kid's tribute to the Phantom of the Opera combined with some counterfeit scheme? Not really. But that's the beauty of art, and this is art where it's open to interpretation and also allows us to reflect on modern times, because this is a timeless episode. Scooby-Doo is timeless, especially these earlier episodes, right? And I think that's why this episode resonates with a lot of people, because every day, especially with social media and mobile phones where anyone can reach us at any second, and the internet, we are just constantly being bombarded. Even when we leave our house, we have to be wary of scams too. There could be people trying to pick our pockets, steal our money. There's card skimmers out there when you pay with your debit or credit card. There's people using cell phones to take pictures of you that they can use later to get into your bank account or learn more about you. That's the number one way how people hack into your email, is it's social hacking, right? They get a little bit of information on you off the internet. They call you up. They get more information out of you. Bam, next thing they got is your social security number, your credit card number, and all your life savings are gone. It's a spooky, crazy world out there. And, like I said, there's always going to be some sort of puppet master out there pulling our strings. And that's why you just have to be more vigilant than ever out there. Anyway, until next time, stay spooky.